why is the media response to the UK Tamil protests so minimal? Would in-depth analysis uncover things our government would not want you, the public, to know? As well as a highly lucrative trade, cheap labour and other resources, Sri Lanka is opening up its oil and gas exploration. In 2007, 2 of 8 exploration blocks in the Mannar Basin off the northwest coast of Sri Lanka were sold to India and China. Norway's TGS Nopec conducted the seismic surveys, and the information was sold to ONGC, India's oil and natural gas company, and to British Gas, which is now owned by Centrica. By then, Sri Lanka was looking to increase its oil production from 50,000 barrels a day to 100,000 barrels. By July 2008, Cairn India signed Sri Lanka's Petroleum Resource Agreement, committing to an initial investment of $110 million.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're causing the obstruction, and traffic is unable to pass by, and they have the right to do this. For you to continue to do this is unlawful. Please move back onto the green where you can continue to lawfully protest.
Do not push me! Do not push me!
More than a month after the G20 protests and endless complaints against the TSG, it seemed things were back to normal.
Move back! Clear! Move back! People will die! Now move back! People will die! Move back!
45 people were arrested. The London Ambulance Service reported 22 patients at the scene. 6 people were hospitalised.
My brother died! My sister died! I have no life!
Saturday the 16th of May. Increased containment measures were put in place around Parliament Square to halt further road blockades.
All we're asking you to do is not to display the flag, which under British law has been deemed to be a representation of a prescribed organisation. Is that fair enough? It's a fair request, isn't it?
I appreciate you're doing your duty, but this is a national flag. I can't compromise on any point.
The police continued to challenge protesters on the Tamil national flag.
I have lived in the Vani during the good times of peace and the bad times of war.
Aid worker Tim Martin, who recently returned from Sri Lanka, began his own hunger strike to highlight the growing crisis of the Tamil civilians.
Our people, 25,000 people died and 50,000 more. No medicine, no food.
We've had reports recently from a number of different sources, not only Tamil sources, that the Sri Lankan army have dug large craters near to the safety zone. And this, we believe, the Sri Lankan government will use as mass graves to hide the atrocities.
In the world, no listen. Why?
The young Tamil children, as young as 14 or 15, are being taken by the paramilitary soldiers as child soldiers to the training camps. These reports are not coming from Tamil sources. These reports are coming from human rights organisations. After witnessing firsthand the atrocities in the Vani, that was enough alone to do a hunger strike. But I have many friends who have died in Sri Lanka. Many of my dear friends that took care of me in my time of need that have been killed by the shelling.
Our leader! Our leader!
It's only in recent times, I suppose, after the tsunami, when there was a massive influx of INGO workers into the Vani, that then people could really see the truth. When I first went there, I would believe that the LTT were like the FARC. I imagined them all to be on drugs or something, because that's how they'd been portrayed to some degree. When I got there, they had the proper administration services, they had police force, they had ambulances. In fact, it was less corrupt in the north than it was in the south. All of our tsunami money in the south is being skimmed off by the Sri Lankan government. It's being stolen left, right and centre. The money that we're bringing to the north, it went directly to the people. No one can even begin to imagine. Can you imagine growing up with your sister and your brother and all your family, and then you move away to a different country and then all your family killed? I don't think, I don't know. It makes me really emotional when I talk about it, but a lot of my friends here in the UK, their sisters and brothers and everyone have been killed.
Monday the 18th of May. As the leader of the Tamil Tigers was reported shot dead, the police moved in on the 5th road blockade.
Excuse me. Hello. Excuse me. What are you doing here?
18 people arrested. 25 police officers were reported injured. 3 were hospitalised. 16 protesters were injured. 8 of those were also hospitalised. Monday the 1st of June. Peace campaigner Maria Galastegi raised the Tamil national flag over her display at Parliament Square and was immediately confronted by the police.
The flag of a prescribed organisation. It's the organisation prescribed.
At this stage then, save any messing about, I'm formally arresting you, okay, for showing signs of a prescribed political group. You're silly, you're mad, you are. There's no point arresting you or something.
Several days earlier, Maria took her flag protest to New Scotland Yard. This is what the SO15 anti-terror unit had to say to her.
I've spoken to SO15 who can see you from inside the building. Looking at the flag that you're holding, it isn't the prescribed flag, and therefore under the Terrorism Act I'm not in a position either to arrest or process you for that offence.
Wednesday the 3rd of June. Maria remained on the Churchill statue for over 9 hours, flying a Tamil flag as Gordon Brown entered Parliament for Prime Minister's question time. When she came down from the statue, she was arrested a second time under Section 13 of the Terrorism Act, held in a police cell for 24 hours and interviewed by the SO15 anti-terror squad, who begged the question, "Are you a Tamil tiger?" Saturday the 20th of June. The Tamil people marched through London again, but this time it was more of a funeral procession than a protest. The BBC played down the march, claiming only 4,500 people attended, but these images would suggest otherwise. The Metropolitan Police blamed the Tamil protesters of costing the UK taxpayer £10 million in policing, and went further to accuse them of causing the 30% rise in crime in central London due to draining police resources and manpower. It is now widely reported that 20,000 people died in the final surge by Sri Lanka against the Tamil Tigers. The true figure of the dead will probably never be known. Nearly 300,000 people are still locked up in camps, now referred to as concentration camps. Tens of thousands were killed, and hundreds of thousands were locked into camps surrounded in barbed wire. The world and the United Nations stood by and did nothing. The mass slaughter of the innocent people caught up in the middle of this brutal civil war will be remembered in history as a dark and rotten stain on the Western world, the day our leaders and governments failed the Tamil people.
Is the Churchill statue at Parliament Square in London. People in Tamil Nadu, the civilian population, are basically, just as you can see here, behind barbed wire. They're living in the most appalling, atrocious conditions, and there's nothing being done internationally from this country, from America. There's no help going in. It's against international law. In this day and age, 2009, these people are suffering unbearable pain and torment and very slow and agonising death. And what for? No good reason.